All right, hey everybody, I got Manish here. He just purchased the property. I figured we'd do an interview with him, so it'll give you a good idea of the home buying experience from start to finish. So when did we start working together? When was the first call? Was it February?
Yeah, I think it was a couple of months prior to our move to Springs.
Yeah. And it's almost August, so in between February and August, this will bring you through a short glimpse of the home buying process. Now, this is Manish's first home. So him and his wife just purchased this property. They haven't purchased a home before, first time home buyers. They moved here from out of state. So the process in buying a home was a little bit more than most just because you were making a move from another state on top of buying a home.
Right.
So there's a lot of moving parts. Now, when we first started the search, we talked about your wants and needs. And we had quite a list.
Yeah, we had quite a list, and I think the learning curve was that you have to stick to the basics. You can't get down to smaller details that you're looking for, because then in totality, it's more likely you will not land up getting all the check boxes check marked based on your filters. So you have to be a little realistic and practical when you have your filters in place moving forward. So yeah, we learned that, as we can say, learned it the hard way, but it was part of the process.
Yeah, and it happens with every buyer. We start off, we talk about what their wants and needs are, and they usually have a pretty long list of, this is exactly what I want, this is what I envision myself, and then we realize, hey, it may not be realistic. Let's tone it down, let's move here, or let's do this, or let's do that, and then we start seeing more properties that will work. After we did that, then we started looking at homes. So first we started looking at the homes that met the criteria somewhat. In fact, they didn't even meet the criteria entirely. They were, okay, this would work. So when I see that with even people building custom homes, that you never get what you want. It may not be the lot, it may not be the location, it may not be everything, because we still have a budget you're contending with, even if you're buying or building $1 million home. So there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot that people need to consider whenever they're purchasing a property or building a property. Then we start looking at homes. So started looking at homes. We're seeing minimal homes because there was hardly anything out there that met your needs.
Right.
And we adjusted the search.
Correct.
And then we started looking at properties that would work. So we changed from, this is my dream home, to, hey, this is a home that works. I don't want to rent anymore. And that was where you were at. You just didn't want to rent anymore. It's not that you had to come over here and buy a home. It was, I'm tired of renting. And why was it? What was the main purpose of being tired of renting?
Well, I think part of the reason was Springs is a little different from where we were moving, which was Michigan. Renting turns out to be a lot more expensive, considering specifically renting. And I think being Springs the way it is, especially in the last 3 or 4 months while during our house hunting trip, the market is very hot. Everything moves so quickly. So we saw it firsthand because we were seeing that we were doing a home search while we were in Colorado Springs during the pandemic when the lockdown had happened. And even then, things were not easy. It wasn't that we had homes out there that we would walk in and then think about and then make an offer. Might have been a little different, but in general, in totality, it is a very fast moving housing market in Springs.
Was that surprising to you?
Yes, it was very, especially given the pandemic. We were under the impression that things might be in our favor in terms of the market slowing down.
Yeah, and you even had some friends that say, market's going to slow down.
Yes.
Just hold on.
Yes, but it really didn't quite happen that way. But yeah, finally got through that phase as well.
So we got through that. We actually found one right after the shutdown, or was it right after or before?
During the shutdown.
Okay, it was during the shutdown. So we found a property, we went after it, and we were able to negotiate a little bit with them.
Correct.
All right. Then, when we started negotiating with them, we got under contract. It was something that we decided, hey, it's not the right property for us. I don't remember what the situation was, but it just wasn't the right property.
Yeah, and I think I'd probably just add at this point is that when you have a long list of filters that actually entails your dream home, and then you realize that it's very difficult to hit all those filters, and then you adjust your filters to being more practical in your outlook towards the home finding approach. I would suggest, this is just coming from someone who's learned it, as soon as you go into a home based on your revised filters, observe your body language, you would feel whether that home is for you or not.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what he touched upon. We went on a contract to a townhome, but something didn't feel right. I'm like, no, this is not the home we can find ourselves living in. So that again was part of the learning curve.
Yeah, and I always tell buyers, when you walk in, you feel it. You know if this is the home for you. And you just know if you're gonna place an offer or not. We're not saying you're gonna get the home,
Right.
but we know that, hey, this is right, this feels good, it makes sense, let's move forward. I don't know how to explain it, but there is just a certain feeling that everybody has when they walk into a property. It's like, this is it,
Right.
we'll go after it.
Yeah,
So we did a total of 3 offers, right?
correct.
First offer, we were able to negotiate, got a little bit off the contract price, and that was during the shutdown.
Correct.
Second offer, we come out of the shutdown. Now things are different. I mean, within a period of what, a couple weeks, 3
Correct.
weeks, 2-3 weeks, the market skyrocketed. It went back up. Everybody's back shopping. So we even changed. We went from financed to cash.
Correct.
And Manish was under the impression, hey, listen, I'm paying cash. We're going to be able to negotiate a little bit more.
Correct.
And I told him, come in with your highest and best offer because we're going to get 1 shot. It's very rare that we get 2 shots.
Correct.
So we went in there, we made an offer. What do we offer? 10,000 less? We offered 15. We started at 15, and then we adjusted. We had some conversations, and then we adjusted it to $10,000. And go figure, I think we had a deadline of like 3 o'clock,
Correct.
and all of a sudden another offer comes in at 2 o'clock, and you got to be thinking, really? They're probably saying a story to get our offer up.
Correct.
An hour before the deadline, and they call and say, hey, listen, we got another offer, and it's better than yours, but we like yours because it's cash, so are you willing to do anything? We didn't do it. So at that point in time, we lost it. That, unfortunately, when we lose the property, that's when we really realize that, yes, it was real, and they took a financed offer over our cash offer because they were willing to wait for a little bit more money. And I haven't looked at the property. I'm assuming it's sold. I haven't looked back. Have you looked at it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
And again, that gives you a very good feel of the market. So how it landed up teaching us was that during the lockdown, we are still in a pandemic, during the lockdown, complete lockdown, there is fear amongst people, whether it's a buyer or a seller. There is room for negotiation, no matter how small that may be. But as soon as that lockdown rule is relaxed, is where the comfort level of people, the fear goes down. And then whatever the buyer basically needs to cater to what the seller is asking. It is literally a seller's market at this point. And yes, the learning curve was we were able to negotiate during the lockdown, and then the second property, it needed some work done. So we thought we could probably capitalize again from what we learned, but then we forgot to factor in the part where the lockdown had been relaxed. So the market had started to again become very aggressive. And that's where we learned from the second home that, yeah, we have to get a little more aggressive because the lockdown has been relaxed.
Then we found a third home, but we didn't write an offer on that home.
Correct.
It worked. And you went, so on this particular home, if I recall correctly, it hit on a Thursday or Friday. I think it was a Thursday.
Thursday.
And they weren't accepting offers until Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, they said 72 hours or something like that was what they wanted. So basically they weren't accepting offers. They wanted it on the market for a full weekend, which is very common with our market because it's a seller's market, so they can say, hey, this is what we're doing. We want to get as much offers, as much interest as we can to drive the cost up. This particular property, you drove by, we showed it, you liked it, had a good feel for it, you decided it was something that may work.
Correct.
And then we had a conversation on Saturday. The conversation in my mind was, it's not going to be the right home for us. And then we talked Monday morning, I believe. Monday morning, it was, hey, listen, we think this is going to work. We may want to go after it. I contact the other agent. The other agent stated, hey, listen, we have offers. I'm about to accept an offer. And if you're going to come with an offer, you need to do it now before we go under contract.
Correct.
So we discussed that, and we still weren't ready to jump at that point in time because I said, hey, listen, if we're going to do an offer, we got to draft it right now. We don't have
Correct.
time.
And again, this one was one of those scenarios where I think it goes back to being very sure of what you want. Again, the filter is in place, right? So this one was a single family home. So it took me some time to mentally adjust my filters to going from a townhome to a single family home. And by the time we had the conversation on Monday morning and I told him that let me think about this and get back to you, I knew at the back of my mind it was going to be too late because it took me a couple of hours to mentally prepare myself, put in an offer, and when I called him, first thing he tells me is it's already under contract, which gives you a clear indication of how aggressive the market became after the lockdown was relaxed.
And that one, you looked at it to see
Correct.
how much they sold it. So they were asking, I don't recall what they were asking.
434,000.
434, and it sold for,
465,500.
there you go. So that tells you they have multiple offers. The price was driven up. We see it quite often. That was the most expensive sell in the area, but I would argue that that was probably one of the better lots in the area because the view was great. So for $465,000, it still wasn't a bad purchase. It's just that we're pushing up the pricing.
Correct.
And that one did sell. Then we go to our third offer, which we did get. Now we walked in here. Now you've had a lot of education.
Correct.
Now we've had months of looking at the market. We've had experience. We've been showing. And you know, a lot of stuff that we looked at is junk.
Correct.
I mean, even in the $500,000 range. Do you
Correct.
agree?
Correct.
And it's crazy. So, you know, people always have a feeling like they got to go up in value. It may not necessarily be that you got to go up in value. You just got to find the right home.
Correct.
I mean, we're looking at $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes that are not well taken care of, you know, but they're still going under contract.
Right.
So we have some education. We find the one that we're in now, and we go after it. Day one on the market, day zero.
Correct.
Day zero on the market. So just hit the market. We see it. We're looking at another one. Didn't show so well. I'm even getting frustrated on the last one that we saw. I mean, you know, $400,000 and you need to go in there and do a complete rehab, paint, carpet, everything. Then we come in here to this one and it looks great. You walk in, it's like, wow, this is a nice home. It's well kept. You can feel it when you come in. We go after that and there was no thinking.
Correct.
We showed it and I think I had the offer to you within an hour.
Correct. And important thing was when we took a quick glance, both my wife and I were here at the same time. First of all, how does your body language feel to you? I felt that I could live here. And second glance was at my wife, and the first thing she says is, she can live here. She likes it. These are two sentences. There was eye contact, these two sentences, and then we looked at Mark. And the rest was the contract was created.
Yeah, so
Put in the offer.
we were under contract that same night, right?
Correct.
So I think we showed it, what, about 4 o'clock?
Yeah,
4 o'clock, and if I remember correctly, 8, 9 o'clock,
9 o'clock.
we're under contract. I mean, that's just how fast it moves. There's no time for thinking. It's, hey, we want it, we gotta go after it, we got one. It basically at this point is acceptable.
Correct.
It's not everything you wanted. This is not your dream home.
Right.
It's a stepping stone home.
Correct.
But if you decide to move in the future, now you have a home that's building equity.
Correct.
If you were renting a place, all right, you can terminate the lease or you wait until the lease is done and then you move. But you have no chance of getting your money back.
Correct.
That's what I always tell people. You can rent and you can leave because you have the flexibility of just getting out of the lease. But when you sell or when you go and leave, you get none of your money back. This case, at least we have a fighting chance. I don't know if we'll get our money back. The way the market is moving, we will get our money back.
Sure.
But if anybody tells you they know what the market's doing, they're telling you a story. Because we don't know. And the market can keep on going up. It can go lateral, it can go down. I mean, we just don't know. But at least you have a fighting chance. So we decide to sell this home in 1, 2, 3 years. Whatever the case is, we can turn around, we can put it on the market. We have a chance of getting some of our money back that we put into the mortgage, or maybe even making a profit. In this market, I've had people put their home on the market after a year because they had a life change and they ended up making money. So, you know, pretty significant money too.
Yeah, and this part of the conversation was very important because during this phase of home buying, there was a phase where we decided that probably buying is not for us. We rented all our life and probably it is not the right time. But then this logic specific to Springs made total sense, and that's where we shut down all thinking about renting and went ahead with our first one.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought this interview would be so important because this is not coming from a realtor. This is coming from a real person, someone who's experienced the market, someone who is a first-time home buyer who, you know, has learned so much. I mean, Manish is one of the clients that, I mean, he was calling the title company, he was calling the county, he was doing record search, he was very in-depth, in tune with the process, and I'm sure that it was an educational experience as well.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm hoping it was a good one, you know,
Really
something
good.
that you'll take with you for the rest of your life.
And I have to say this for sure, that since the market is so aggressive, as you've heard us say this multiple times, you need to have an agent, a realtor, who is there for you. And this would not have been possible without his help, because he was there when we needed him. Trust me when I say this is obviously not scripted, even on a Sunday, odd hours, because he understood how important it was for us to get a roof over our head. And it worked because of the efforts that he put in, not just because we are seeing homes together, but he being available. So it's important you clear up your mind and be sure of what you want, have your filters in place and work. I would recommend Mark always, because he's there for your client, and then just move ahead. Get into the home, see how you feel, and then when you're ready to walk away, be sure whether you want to get in it. If you are, come up with your best offer, as he says, and then the rest would follow through.
Well, Manish, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you get something out of it, and thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
We'll see you guys later.